Isa lang sa 3 Pilipinong may trabaho ang may full protection, ang kontrata, healthcare at job security. Ang natitirang 2, walang job protection. At hindi ito bagong problema. Nagpangako na ang mga presidente, pumasa ang batas sa Senado, pero hanggang ngayon, halos wala pa ring nagbago sa issue na ito. Ang ENDO or End of Contract issue ang pag-uusapan natin ngayon. Aasenso rin tayo, Philippine Policy, Business and Career for the Filipino Professional. I'm Patricia Matias. I have an MBA from MIT Sloan and a public policy degree from Harvard Kennedy School. I'm an AI consultant, a corporate girly, and I write about labor and governance as a daughter of the Philippines. For each episode, I bring headlines that matter, what they mean for your career, and one deep dive into an issue that we should all care about as Filipino citizens. Aasenso rin tayo, ang Pilipinas, your career, your industry. Let's talk headlines. 3 stories from this week that you should know about. Una, isang irony. The Philippine economy is projected to grow at 5.1% this year. That's very solid growth by most measures. And yet, the PSA's latest numbers show that nearly 3 million Filipinos out of work at the start of 2026, and that is the highest rate in 3 years. Paano nangyari yun? Lumalaki ang economy natin pero dumadami pa rin ang walang trabaho? Part of the answer is really where the growth is happening. It's concentrated in sectors that absorb workers at the bottom, yung mga walang protection at walang job stability. And here's the number I really want to focus on because I don't think it's really getting enough attention. 14%, 1/4, of young Filipinos aged 15 to 24 are NEET, N-E-E-T, not in education, employment, or training. 1 in 7 Filipinos. That's up from 11.7% a year ago. So para sa mga kabataang Pilipino, isa sa 7 kabataan ang hindi nag-aaral, hindi nagtatrabaho at wala sa anumang training. Nasa labas sila ng sistema. And on top of that, the PSA counted 6.35 million Filipinos may have jobs but want more hours. May trabaho sila pero hindi sapat ang oras at ang kinikita. So when we talk about ENDO, which is exactly what we're gonna be getting into today, ito yung backdrop. There's growth on paper, pero nahihirapan pa rin tayo on the ground. And if you're entering the job market, or if you're hiring, the market is really a lot tighter than the headlines suggest. Story number 2. Speaking of Labor Day, here's our headline. DOLE Secretary Bienvenido Laguesma clarified this week there will be no nationwide wage increase on May 1st. The Trade Union Congress of the Philippines, or the TUCP, called for a 200 peso increase, and that's a 33% jump on Manila's current 610 pesos daily minimum wage. What DOLE said? Regional wage boards ang nagdidesisyon, hindi ang DOLE. And technically, that is the correct answer. The regional system exists because the cost of living in Manila is different from the cost of living in Davao or in Leyte. Pero ang technically correct ay hindi nagpapakain sa atin. And here's why this matters for the issue that we're talking about today. ENDO, or End of Contract, the practice where workers are rehired every 6 months to avoid regularization. It makes minimum wage debates almost besides the point. Kasi hindi masyadong makakatulong ang pagtaas ng mga sahod natin kung wala pa rin tayong seguridad sa ating mga trabaho. Now, if you're on a contractual arrangement yourself, alam mo na your contract status really determines how much protection you actually have. Wages are only one part of the bigger picture, and we really have to push at all fronts to make things better for our employees. Now, last headline. One more headline bringing everything together before we go on our deep dive. In February, the OECD, or an international body, released its 2026 Economic Survey of the Philippines. Ang finding, only about 1 in 3 employed Filipinos works in a formal job with full social and labor protections. Isa lamang sa 3. And the report named ENDO, or ang short-term contract, as one of the key reasons employers avoid formalizing our workers. It is not a structural inevitability, it is a choice ng mga employers. And the OECD called it out by name. Kapag ang international body ang naglabas ng report na nagko-call out sa ating mga labor practices, hindi yan compliment, babala or warning yan. And that's it for our headlines. Now, those three stories that I just told you aren't a coincidence. There's growth without good jobs, there's no wage increase incoming, and an international body is calling out ENDO as the problem that it is. And all of them are really pointing to the same issue. So let's go deep today. Let me paint you a picture. If you're a cashier sa isang malaking supermarket chain, 5 months ka na doon, alam mo na yung sistema, alam mo na kung nasan yung bawat produkto, kilala mo na yung mga suki, magaling ka na sa trabaho mo. Month 6, your contract just suddenly ends. Wala ka ng trabaho. The third-party contractor who technically ang nag-employ sa'yo, not the supermarket and yung contractor talaga, tells you na tapos ka na. 2 weeks later, you're back. Pero iba yung kontrata. You're in the same cashier station, same supermarket, same job, but the 6-month clock resets. And you never really accumulate enough tenure to qualify for SSS contributions, healthcare, or any kind of job security. Hindi ito hypothetical. Ito ang reality ng ENDO. At naaapektuhan nito ang 27 hanggang 45% ng lahat ng manggagawang Pilipino ngayon. I actually wrote an opinion piece about this at Harvard. And when I went back to check what has changed since then, honestly, wala pa rin nagbago. Hindi pa rin sapat ang ating mga proteksyon. So here's what I want to argue today. ENDO survives not because no one cares and not because the law is missing. It survives because we keep treating it just like a legal problem when it's actually a whole systems problem. Kailangan natin ng batas. Yes, step 1 yan. But you also need a business case. You also need safety nets and an enforcement infrastructure all working together to solve this. We have some pieces of the solution, but we don't have all of it. And because we don't, ENDO keeps coming back. And let me show you what I mean by that. The mechanism behind ENDO is a network of third-party labor contractors. Ganito siya. A large company, let's say a supermarket, a fast food chain, a bank, they don't hire workers directly. They contract with the labor agency. Yung agency yung nag-hire ng workers, places them with the company, then rotates them out before they hit the 6-month mark that triggers regularization under the labor code. Ngayon, bakit 6 na buwan? Ba't hindi 7? Ba't hindi 8? Because the Article 295 of the Labor Code says that after 6 months of employment, a worker becomes a regular employee unless there's a valid reason otherwise. So the entire architecture of ENDO is built to game that 6-month rule. The contractor makes money by providing cheap, flexible labor. The company, the big company, avoids the cost of regular employment, yung healthcare, 13th-month pay, SSS, pag-ibig, and the worker bears all the risk. Ang third-party contracting system ay dinisenyo para ilipat ang labor cost sa pinaka-vulnerable na tao sa ating sistema, ang ating mga workers. Now, former President Duterte identified this. He promised to end ENDO before he took office. The Senate already unanimously passed the Security of Tenure Bill and the End of ENDO Act, which would have banned third-party labor contractors entirely. And then what happened? Then Duterte vetoed it. His reasoning? The bill was too broad, business groups pushed hard. Duterte just sided with them. And that was back in 2019. 2026 na tayo. The Security of Tenure Bill has been refiled in every single Congress since that veto. The 18th, the 19th, the 20th Congress, still pending. President Marcos didn't address contractualization at all in his State of the Nation address. Labor groups called it out very publicly and still, the bill stalls. Nakakainis! Sobra, I know. At naiintindihan ko kung bakit pakiramdam natin laging walang nagbabago. But before we say politika at business interest lagi lang yan mananalo, I want to push on bakit. Because the answer isn't just corruption or greed, though those problems are very much real. The deeper issue is that passing a law and implementing a law are two completely separate things. Let's think about it. The labor code already says workers must become regular after 6 months. Law na yon from before. Endo exists because employers found a loophole, a way to circumvent around that. Now, if we pass a new law banning those contractors, what stops them from finding the next workaround or the next loophole? The Employers Confederation of the Philippines, or the ECOP, said last year that Endo is immoral and illegal. The answer sa kanila, voluntary regularization, not punitive legislation. That's not a completely crazy position. Pero kung walang enforcement, wishful thinking lang yan, hindi yan patakaran. Law without enforcement is just a polite suggestion, and the Philippine labor enforcement has historically been underfunded, understaffed, and outpaced by the scale of the massive issue. Ending Endo isn't just about political will. It's also about giving our businesses a reason to change. And let me give you that reason today. At MIT, I studied labor economics as a business school student, and one of the frameworks that really stuck with me was Professor Zeynep Ton's Good Jobs research. She's a professor at MIT Sloan and the founder of the Good Jobs Institute here sa United States. Her core argument is that the vicious cycle of low wages isn't inevitable. Kaya natin siyang i-break. And here's what that virtuous cycle looks like. You pay your workers well, you give them stable hours and real benefits, they stay. They become skilled, they know their product, they serve customers better. At may operational excellence yan because your people aren't constantly being replaced. Sales and revenues go up, and those higher revenues fund the wages you paid in the first place. And the cycle reinforces itself, but only if you invest on it in the start. Professor Ton studied 4 companies running this cycle: Trader Joe's, Costco, Quick Trip, which is a US convenience store chain, at Mercadona, a Spanish supermarket. Now, let me give you the case of Mercadona because I want you to think about this outside of a United States setting. Mercadona is Spain's largest supermarket chain. While most Spanish retailers carry 40,000 products, Mercadona carries only 8,000. Fewer products means workers can actually know the inventory and make real recommendations to customers. Wages are among the highest in Spanish retail. Turnover is under 4%, and the revenue tumataginting na $24 billion. There are fewer products, higher wages, lower turnover, better service, and more revenue. Nagtataka rin ako noon, applicable kaya ang theory na ito sa Philippine context? Or sa US or Europe lang ba ito? And when I ran the numbers for the Philippine context, here's what kept coming up. If you're running a fast food chain and your staff turnover is 200% per year, and that's not unusual kung endo-reliant ka na industry, you are actually spending an enormous amount of money on recruitment, on onboarding, and training. And that money goes into a revolving door, revolving sink instead of good performance. Businesses have somehow convinced themselves that Endo saves them money, but the research shows the opposite. It actually costs them money. But it's harder to see on a quarterly report. Kasi recruitment fees yan, onboarding time, and there's a productivity gap between a 5-month worker and a 5-year worker. The business case for Good Jobs is real. This is the lever DOLE and DTI haven't used enough, frankly. And not just, here's the law, but here's why this is actually good for your bottom line. But even if we fix the law and make the business case, sabihin natin na gawa natin yung dalawa na yon, there's still a third piece na hindi nakakuha ng ganong kadaming atensyon. At yan ang need for a safety net. When an endo worker loses their contract at mawawala ito paulit-ulit, what's there to catch them? Our social security system offers unemployment benefits, yung SSS natin. That sounds good, But the catch is, to qualify, you need 36 monthly SSS contribution, 3 years worth. And you have to be involuntarily terminated para makuha mo yung benefits mo. Now, think about what that means para sa isang empleyado na nasa endocycle. Yung contract nila ends every 6 months. They're technically not terminated, na-expire lang yung contract, and sustaining 36 continuous monthly contributions while being rotated between contractors every 6 months, imposible yan. The SSS program was not designed for how endo workers actually live, yung kondisyon nila. Para sa isang kasambahay, isang cashier, isang service worker na palagi na lang nire-rehire at nire-rehire, ang gobyerno ay halos walang safety net na ino-offer sa kanila. Wala talaga. The OECD touched on this. They are recommending a basic tier social protection funded from general tax revenues. Universal coverage yan, not contribution-based. A floor, regardless of anybody's contract status. That's a harder political lift. Mas mahirap yang ipasa. Pero yan ang kailangan nating i-push para sa progreso. Now, I know what the business community will say. After all, MBA grad din ako at corporate girly din ako. And honestly, hindi naman entirely wrong yung counter-argument nila. Sabihin nila, small businesses cannot absorb this. A small restaurant or a family-owned shop on thin margins, pag niregularize nila yung employees nila at nagbigay sila ng full benefits, that is a real burden. Not every employer using contractual arrangement is a predatory corporation. Some of them are genuinely just trying to stay afloat. Naiintindihan naman natin yan. A blanket ban on contractualization with no transitional support and no distinction between ang two-person bakery at ang isang supermarket, hindi yan good policy. Pero, hindi yan dahilan para hindi kumilos. Kailangan lang nating kumilos ng mas matalino. Let's scale the compliance requirements based on the company size. Require transitional support from DOLE. Why don't we give tax incentives for businesses to regularize? Or build a social protection floor funded by the government, not entirely by our employers, para hindi naman employers yung laging sumasalo. Ang daming ideas na pwede nating i-implement. Hindi yan ban everything at hayaan na lang ang maliliit na negosyo na i-figure it out. Pero hindi rin okay lang ang status quo. There's something in the middle. Millions of workers are living this reality every day. And the question isn't really whether to act. It's to act in a way that actually works. So here's what I want you to take from this episode today. Una, know your own contract. Regular ka ba or contractual or somewhere in between? Article 295 of the Labor Code sets the rules. Know where you stand at know yung mga karapatan mo as an employee. Pangalawa, if you're in management or if you own a business, run the numbers. What does your turnover and retraining actually cost you? If you're cycling through workers every 6 months, you are spending more money than you think you're saving. Pangatlo, follow the security of tenure bill. It's alive! Labor Day is coming and labor groups are going to be loud, really pushing the issue on this. And public pressure moves bills. Kailangan nila tayo and your voice matters. Endo has survived this long hindi dahil invisible yung issue na to, but because the people it hurts the most, unfortunately, have the least power to change it. At magbabago yan kapag mas maraming tao ang nakakaintindi ng issue na ito, nagagalit at sumisigaw na hindi ito katanggap-tanggap. Endo must end at alam na natin kung ano ang kailangan nating gawin. That's today's episode. Thank you so much for listening. If something today landed, whether it's the NEET number, the Good Jobs research, or the SSS gap, please share it. Send it to someone working, send it to someone who runs a business, send it to someone who thinks labor issues don't affect them. Aasenso rin tayo, Pilipinas. Pero hindi yan mangyayari dahil sa patakaran lamang. Uunlad ang Pilipinas kapag mas maraming tao ang nakakaintindi ng mga issue na ito at umaaksyon. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook at Aasenso rin tayo, and on Spotify and YouTube, obviously, sa episodes natin. I read every message, every DM, every comment. If you have a topic you want me to dig into, send it my way. This show is for you. I'm Patricia Matias. This is Aasenso Rin Tayo Podcast. Hanggang sa muli, see you next time.